Good morning, everyone. This is Julie McDonald with Microcom Technologies, and I'd like to thank all of you for attending today's webinar with EnGenius. Today's host is Brian Slayman. He'll be presenting today, and if anyone has any questions, please feel free to submit them in the question box, and Brian will answer them at the end of today's presentation. Brian, I am finished for now, and the floor is all yours.
Thank you very much, Julie. Again, this is Brian Slayman with EnGenius Technologies. I am a product line manager for EnGenius. I'm very excited to be on this webinar with Microcom, so I appreciate Microcom putting this together, and I appreciate everybody's time for sitting on this webinar. Hopefully you grab some information on this, and like Julie said, if you have any questions at the end, feel free to submit those questions, and I'll try to answer them as best as possible. So today what we're going to talk about is the product solutions, specifically the Electron series product line. What we'll cover are some corporate information, some awards, our sales support, and our Electron series, which will cover the total solution overview, specifically the End Station AC and some sector antennas that we recently launched. So a little bit about EnGenius. Some of you may know us as being in the industry for a very long time, since 1999. We really started off with wireless communications and RF technology. That's where our expertise lies from the beginning of time, or since we've been within the U.S. since 1999. We have some key solutions, which are the neutron distributed network solutions, the Electron standalone solutions, the End Station point-to-point solutions, and our Duraphone product. Actually, this is where we really started. And then just we took that same long-range, better penetration from the Duraphone product, and we implemented that into the networking world. We were probably one of the first companies to introduce high-powered radios, high receive sensitivity radios. So that's where our expertise really lies. And we just expanded on the Wi-Fi line into a switch line, a PoE switch line, and a switch line. So we've broadened from there. Some of the things to think about in regards to EnGenius is we definitely have a robust wireless product that has business class performance. Versatile, user-friendly, centralized management piece that we also offer. And as normal, we've always been an affordable total cost of ownership from day one up until today. So with that said, this is some of the things that our customers are saying, not our customers, I should say, but third party are saying about EnGenius. You know, we've had multiple reviews in PC Mag Network World. We had Best of Interop a couple years, and benchmark in regards to our AC technology and our AC access points, how they perform among our competitors, business class competitors and consumer line class competitors. So we've done very well in regards to the AC line, and it's being talked about from different entities. So expert support, as I mentioned, EnGenius comes from a long line of experts, engineers, RF engineers, and we implement that into the sales side too. So we have a line of wireless sales experts that Microcom and Microcom's customers can speak to. We will actually give you high-level suggestions on how our product performs within different applications, how many the number of access points, the number of switches. So there's a lot of intel coming from the EnGenius sales support. To back them up, we actually have not only field applications engineers, but we have a Tier 1, Tier 2 customer service that will assist in pre-sales support and post-sales support. Our field application engineers are certified and actually will help on more complicated applications, and will actually give you predictive case designs that you can use for quoting purposes, or when you go to the customer if you're doing a deployment, will even help you to that extent. And then that falls in line with the free network design that I was just kind of mentioning. That's a big piece that we offer to all of our customers. Once it gets to a particular level, we will start to provide network designs, like I said, to particular applications. The more complicated, obviously, the more work, but we do that for a free service. Some of the industries, some of the more popular industries that we work in, this is a vast look at where we've done very well. And in the hospitality market, campgrounds, marinas, hotels have been a huge portion of our business. A lot of SMB, that's really our sweet spot. We've done a ton of work in digital signage. IP surveillance is becoming something that is growing within our industry for a particular product, and I'll talk about that product later. Assisted living is another huge industry, which is within the healthcare industry. Assisted living, we've done well in regards to the telecommunications line and our networking line. Transportation, truck stops, bus stops, being able to communicate Wi-Fi out to the parking lots in those particular areas and to the customers of truck stops and bus stops. Managed service providers is another area that we're really growing, where they're using a number of different devices or a number of different solutions for those applications. So they're using our centrally managed networking products along with our Electron series, which is more standalone, but in regards to like outdoor point-to-point, point-to-multipoint, that's where that really makes that connection. So in regards to the Electron series, there's multiple applications, and I know, Microcom's customer base is very, diverse in the Wi-Fi industry, and I'm sure a lot of their customers know much more than I do. And you understand how an access point works, how a client bridge works, or an Ethernet bridge works, or a repeater. So I won't go into great depth, but I'll give you some applications that we typically run into. For the EC, to get very specific, we have a couple models, indoor models, access point models, the ECB and the EAP, and that's really the prefix to the part numbers of our particular products. That's providing really full coverage indoor access points in hotel situations, or pro AV kind of deployments in like luxury homes or commercial buildings. And that's where the ECB and EAP line really does well within those particular verticals. We have the EPG line and the EPA line, and what we call that our power source line, and that's anywhere from a single port PoE injector to an 8-port PoE switch to a 48-port PoE switch. Anywhere from a desktop model to a rack-mountable model. PoE, as everybody knows, I hope everybody knows, is power over Ethernet. So basically what you're doing is you're sending data and power from a port across an Ethernet cable to a device like an access point or an outdoor client bridge or access point or a PoE camera for that matter. We typically find the EPG and EPA and large system. Currently, we have large system integrators that deploy MDUs and student MDUs, to be very specific. They've used our EGS line across multiple MDUs, and we've actually displaced some of our competitors in that market. We've done very well in some large stadiums in regards to switching. So as everybody knows, we were a Wi-Fi company, and we're rapidly growing into connectivity, which is switching and PoE switching. And, we're not really known for PoE switches, but we're starting to gain more and more interest because the customer was realizing that our switches do perform as well as some of the major providers or manufacturers that are out there. We're just doing it at a more aggressive price point. So we're displacing a lot of our customers or a lot of our vendors in different situations or verticals and industries. Continue the Electron series, we have the ENH line, which is our industrial-grade access points and bridges. Typically, these devices are rated anywhere from an IP55 to an IP68 rating, which is basically waterproof. We work with a third largest digital signage company, which strictly uses the ENH line and nationwide deployments to transmit signage from a server wirelessly over to a large sign that sits outside of a storefront, across the highway to an on-road sign. So that we do work with some large manufacturers in digital signage. The ENS series is a little more low-profile access point Ethernet bridge, which is IP55 rated. One of the largest pool manufacturers uses the ENS line to send data to control pool settings such as lighting, heating, just some basic controls of what you can do with the pool, which is very interesting. So we have one of the largest pool manufacturers, like I said, that use this particular line. The End Station series, which is for me in particular, is an exciting line. It's for point-to-point and point-to-multipoint. I would say it's more for point-to-point, but can be used in point-to-multipoint. When I say point-to-multipoint, saying maybe 3 links, 4 links, 3 remote buildings going to 1 or 2 buildings going to 1. One of the world's largest delivery companies is currently reviewing our End Station line for all their U.S. locations. So as they have trucks come in, they can wirelessly connect to the main office and upload and download just information that they use on a daily basis. So with an expansive line like the Electron series, we try to position ourselves with our customers in regards to, we try to first meet their needs and their challenges. That's the first thing that we look at. And then obviously at some point, budget does come up. It has to come up. So what we'll do is we'll try to fit that into a good, better, best kind of application or suggestion. Good meaning fast, reliable, weather resilient, and high end user capacity. Better, superior speed, still reliable, weather resilient, and high end user capacity. And high and best being high bandwidth intensive. Still reliable, ruggedized, and high end user capacity. The main differences between good, better, best is basically the speeds that you're seeing and probably the port density of the switches that need to be used within these types of applications. But what I'm saying here basically is the line is so vast or so large and comprehensive that we can approach many different customers with a design that meets their budget needs. So specifically in the indoor space, we have the wireless indoor, and this actually is there's a typo. It's not the ECV line, it's the EAP line, so I apologize for that. This is a line of 802.11n and AC products. A lot of our customers know us for the EAP 600. It's probably one of the #1 access points being sold today, nationally and worldwide. This device is known to be very rock solid and works very well in a lot of different kind of industries and deployments. You're really getting up to 29 dBm transmit power, so you're getting really extremely high power. In today's world, high power still means something, but not as much as it did probably 3 years ago, 4 years ago. It's more about handling the number of devices, the number of clients. But power does still mean something. All of our devices can be adjusted in regards to the output power, so you can actually turn the power down or turn the power up depending on the application. Our devices do feature things like band steering and fast roaming, to offset congestion in regards to band steering, to offset congestion from 2.4 and move it over to 5 gigahertz. for example, so there's a better experience at the end user. Fast roaming, so you have that roaming capability from one device to another device. I think there's a misnomer out there that you have to have a controller in place to have roaming, and I know a lot of the Microcom customers are very well educated in regards to Wi-Fi in general, and I would say 5 years ago we were doing roaming with the devices that we had at that time, so the same rules apply, but we've actually enriched the feature set or the functionality of the access points where they are all 802.1R and or 11R and 11K compliant. So what those two standards do is allows devices to roam faster, basically. There's another feature within our access points which is called RSSI threshold, which allows you to release client devices sooner than what they need or what they want, known as a sticky client. We can talk more about that in later slides if we have to. All of our devices are multi-operation, so they have multiple nodes. I think we are one of the first companies to actually become or have multi-nodes within our devices. Today, you can find it in a lot of different devices, but all of our devices will have some sort of different modes like access point or WDS bridge mode, or excuse me, WDS mode. All of our devices are 802.AT PoE compliant. They have secured guest networking. We have VLAN tagging for per SSID. We have bandwidth throttling per SSID also. All of these devices have an internal high-gain Omni antenna along with a high-powered radio. And it's a low-profile solution or form factor that can fit in a lot of different environments. So that was the EAP line. We also have the ECB line, and the difference between the two part numbers, EAP stands for EnGenius Access Point. The ECB line really stands for EnGenius Client Bridge Line, and the ECB line is you can see it's a different form factor in regards to how the antennas are designed. The antennas are external. The form factor, the shape of the device is actually different. The mounting can be actually similar. It can be mounted to a ceiling, or it can be actually placed on a desktop or on a shelf. But it allows our system integrators, our customers, to install in different areas of the application. It could be in an attic or a basement, for example, where there's a ISP entry point. In some cases, it could be in a basement or it could be in the attic. And so a lot of our system integrators will use the ECB line in those instances. The one thing to really highlight, so all the features, performance in regards to Wi-Fi are identical to the EAP line, the line that we just looked at. All the same except for the form factor itself. That's the only really main difference. The other main difference is the multi-operation mode. So I guess there should be two main differences: form factor, and then there's the function, the mode. There's access point mode, client bridge mode, and WDS mode. Client bridge, typically when our customers are purchasing this particular product, they're using it in a client bridge mode, more so than an access point mode. We have a very large customer base that still uses this device for client bridge mode. And what client bridge mode, if you don't know, back in the old days when you had a desktop that did not have Wi-Fi, you could use a client bridge to connect to that desktop via the Ethernet port. And now the desktop is thinking that it's connected to an Ethernet port, but in fact it's connected to this device. Now that's wirelessly communicating to an access point. So now it's allowing that desktop to now communicate wirelessly to an access point. Well, that idea has expanded in a way where you can now attach printers to these devices in client bridge mode, and you can even attach full networks to these devices in client bridge mode. You're basically just transmitting a lot more data through the device to, or wirelessly to an access point, for example. So this idea of client bridge really expanded over time, and it's going into, as everybody knows now, CPE units, outdoor CPE units within the WISP market. And these devices have gotten a lot more intelligent on how they handle bandwidth and connections and concurrent connections and things like that. So the Electron series in regards to the End Station line falls within this whole series of Electron. We have 3 models. They're IP55 rated. Again, it's called the End Station. We have an End Station AC, End Station 5, and an End Station 2. By far, the most popular is the End Station AC for the obvious reasons. It's AC, so it's transmitting much faster bandwidth. The antenna designs are similar. The DBM is, the power of the device is similar. The form factor is pretty much identical, except for the technology, right? You're getting up to 867 megabits per second, up to 300, and another up to 300 on these different devices. So you're operating on 5 gigahertz AC, 5 gigahertz, not AC, but N, and then on 2.4 gigahertz up to 300 megabits. So it really comes down to the deployment type when we would use these different applications. Typically, it's pretty clear to use either the 2 or the AC nowadays. Prior to having this, it was very clear when you would use a 5 versus a 2, but now it's between the AC and the 2. So when you would use the End Station 2 in a, say for example, in a point-to-point, it's going to be in a rural area. A lot of people know that 2.4 will travel further, but you're getting less speed. So if you have a really long distance in a rural area, you would use the End Station 2, where there's no interference or very little interference or very little interference. Whereas in the End Station AC, you could still use it in the rural kind of scenario, no problem. The distances won't be as far, but the speeds will be much faster. If you're in a city deployment, I would definitely go towards the End Station AC because it's operating on 5 gigahertz. You have more channel options there, more options just in regards to channel and how it interacts or does not interact with the interference. Another big bonus with the End Station AC, you'll notice that all these devices have 2 Ethernet ports. And maybe I'm jumping ahead. Let me go to the next page. So wireless point-to-point kits, we do, and I'll explain what I was getting ready to explain in just a second. These are typically used for point-to-point, and we do have these in kits. The End Station AC kit, MSRP is for $399. I think you can actually get this particular device at $249, somewhere around there. That's about street price, so very aggressively priced for 2. And you'll see the different speeds for the different devices. So the End Station 2 and End Station 5 and as a kit talking to one another, these are the distances that you should see at the different speeds. And same with the End Station AC with the distances and speeds. I will tell you, we did a real test at 500 feet, I believe it was, and we averaged 470 megabits per second. And that's a point-to-point link. So this is really for focused, fast point-to-point and point-to-multipoint links, but it can be used in a number of different ways. And we're specifically talking about the End Station AC in this next piece that I'm going to talk about. I want to bring up, there's a lot of features that I talked about in the last 2 slides, but more importantly, all the End Stations have 2 ports. The End Station 2, the End Station 5 have 2 fast Ethernet ports. The End Station AC has 2 gigabit ports, so that's a critical piece. On the End Station AC, the secondary port actually passes 802.3 AF PoE. So now I can have my End Station unit plugged in, and it's sending and transmitting and receiving data, and it's also passing power to a secondary device like an IP camera, and that's why we're doing well. We're starting to do more and more with surveillance. That particular piece has helped us a lot in those types of deployments. To break that down a little bit further, so again, there's a primary port and a secondary port within the End Station AC unit. You're getting a gigabit port. It's 802.AT/AF compliant, but it does come with a PoE injector. So you can actually plug it in. I'll talk about that in a minute. The secondary port is a gigabit port, which again is passing PoE, so it's PSE output. So it's comes with a PoE compliant adapter, which it can be extended to unwired areas up to 328 feet. 2 gig ports again. The second port is passing PoE, so you're saving approximately $30 to $50 because you're not running the extra cabling. You're not buying another PoE injector or using up another port on your PoE switch, for example. So there's that less cabling cost, less devices needed. There's no need for a converter to work with this device because it works with an AT/AF PoE switch. So that's another savings of about $26. So if you're trying to convert it from 48 watt to 24 watt, for example, you don't need that converter any longer because that second port can pass the PoE to the device. Again, it comes with a PoE injector, so it really comes with everything. It comes with the PoE injector and the mounting brackets. Again, it does work with the PoE adapter, or it works with directly to a PoE switch, so it's compliant. So you don't have to worry about buying a switch, then buying a converter to, on those proprietary units that you've seen out there on the market. Let me go into, and I'm speeding up a little bit for the time, the Electron series, the sector antenna line that we launched this year. So in regards to access point antennas, you have omnidirectional and directional. You have a low gain, high gain, and perfect sphere, right, that gives 0 dBi gain. You have the flat donut and semi. There's directional. So Omni, let me step back. Omni gives you 360-degree coverage. Directional actually focuses the beam in a particular direction. It could either be 90 to 120 degrees wide, a little more focused with like a panel. So you have Omni, sector, panel, and dish. Sector is it's a fairly wide antenna beam, whereas a panel is a little bit more focused, and then the dish grid is very focused. And these are the different types of antennas that are out there today. EnGenius is offering a sector antenna. It's really an enterprise class long-range antenna that can cover up to 1.86 miles, and obviously that depends on the device it's talking to. It's to improve RF performance and support higher bandwidth and high capacity deployments. We have 2.4 and 5 gigahertz cross-platform devices. They have cross-platform capabilities with our APs with internal connectors. So we have a 2x2 design and a 3x3 antenna design. And again, it's really to create a powerful wireless base station with 120-degree sector coverage area. It has an adjustable down tilt from 0 to 10 degrees for flexible line of sight, and it's compact. It has an IP55 rated enclosure, and it's outdoor conditions up to 125 miles an hour with wind gusts. You can actually use this device. We've seen cases where customers are using, or system integrators have used this in indoor applications and point-to-point, such as a large warehouse where they're trying to get a signal and shoot it down a warehouse for different types of readers and things like that. Now, obviously, a lot of that depends on the reader, but it does improve the distance slightly on those types of devices. But this is really, if you're trying to saturate down an aisle away or down, along aisleway, for example. That's probably the best example I could use for a situation like that. Outdoor applications, you can actually set up like a design in regards to an array of multiple antennas. So you can install 3 units, 2x2 APs with 3 sector antennas, and provide Wi-Fi to a number of different areas, such as a WISP application, but maybe on a smaller scale, such as a marina or a campground, as an example. So the vertical markets in regards to those antennas, the ones that we've ran into are WISP, that's a wireless internet service provider, campgrounds, RV parks, as outdoor hotspots in marinas and trucking, so transportation centers, golf courses, regional parks, ranches, farms, retail complexes, manufacturing, hotels such as trying to cover a pool area or trying to cover a beachfront situation, and warehouses. So there's a number of different applications that we've already run into that customers are using our sector antennas with our Wi-Fi devices or our Wi-Fi access points. The pricing breakdown, again, there's 4 models. The first model is the SA2216. It's a sector antenna. It's 2.4. That's a 2x2 design and a 16 dBi antenna, and you can see that within our part number. So sector antenna, 2.4 gigahertz. It's a 2x2 design and it's 16 dBi antenna. Then you have, which retails for $159.99. Then you have the SA5219 sector antenna, 5 gigahertz, 2x2 design. It's a 19 dBi. Retails for $159.99 also. Then you have our SA2312. That is a sector antenna with a 2.4 gigahertz on a 3x3 design with 12 dBi, which retails for $179.99. And then we have a sector antenna, which is, it's the SA5315 sector antenna, 5 gigahertz, 3x3 design with 15 dBi antenna or gain. Retails for $179.99. And that pretty much covers it for our antenna design, or different antenna types. So again, a 3x3 versus a 2x2 can be connected to multiple devices. In this particular example, it can be connected to, as an example, the EnGenius 1750, which is an AC access point. It has a 3x3 design. You can connect actually the 5 gigahertz device and the 2.4 if you had to in different cases, but this is basically the how they would be connected. Plug-in mounting system supports our ENS 202 EXT and our ENS 505 EXT, or excuse me, it's not 505, it's 500. It can slip right into the device, and then you have a combined unit creating a hotspot basically for an outdoor application or an indoor application. A little more about the mounting, which I won't go into great detail, but you can simply connect our devices, and it actually comes with a cover to cover the device also where the connectors are. So this is basically showing a compatibility list in regards to the EnGenius line. These are the devices. I'll make sure Julie receives this information so it can be sent out. But these sector antennas support these EnGenius devices. Obviously, our sector antennas will work with any vendor that's out there. It just really comes down to the frequency and the antenna design of the actual device that you're connecting to, so you always have to keep that in mind. And that is it for this particular webinar, and I just want to take the time and thank everybody for jumping on and listening to what products that we have out there now and what we'll be coming out with. So I want to thank everybody.
Thank you very much, Brian.
Yes.
Unless you're done?
I am done.
Oh, terrific. Thank you so very much for your wonderful presentation. And it looks like we do have a question for you.
Okay.
Okay, the question is, regarding your access points, Ubiquitious access points are very popular and easy to install. What would you say about EnGenius's compared to Ubiquitious?
I would say, well, I would say our access points are as easy as Ubiquitious. There's really not too many differences. So we work with a very large customer base, anywhere from the novice all the way up to large system integrators, engineers. And so EnGenius has always been known to have a very easy interface, a GUI interface, very not innovative, but intuitive design. We have, as you've probably seen, we have our devices are sold pretty much anywhere, so we are introduced to a lot of different customer types with not a different knowledge. If your customers are able to install a consumer router, for example, not install, but power it on and do some basic configurations, they can do that with any of our access points. Typically with our access points, there's probably a 5-step process to configure one of our access points. But it's very easy. It really depends on the feature set that you're trying to implement within the application. If you're just doing a simple, I need Wi-Fi within my home, it's a very easy 4 or 5-step process versus, oh, I need access within my building and I need to enable multiple SSIDs with bandwidth throttling, VLAN support, things like that, guest networking. Then it gets a little more complicated. But from the basic level, I would say it's very similar to what you would find with Ubiquity. Actually, a lot of our customers have been known to. We've done a very good job in regards to training our customers. So a lot of our end users can. That's another benefit with EnGenius. Your customers have access to us, either it be online chat, either it be email, either it be a phone call. They get access to our sales team, our technical support team, and if there's a problem or if there's a pre-sales question, it depending on the complexity, it can get all the way up to our FAE. So your customers have full access to EnGenius, and there's always somebody to talk to.
Thank you so much, Brian. That was excellent. We do have another question. It is, are there any models that do not work with other vendors?
Other models that do not work with other... no.
Like antennas, I think, is the clarification.
Oh, no. I mean, no, our antennas are, at the end of the day, they're antennas. They're, it's a hardware piece that will attach to any access point that's out there, any client bridge that's out there. As long as they have the same antenna design. So let me give an example. So if you're working with a 2.4 gigahertz access point and the design is a 2x2 antenna within that device, say the vendor is, I don't know, Cisco, for example. As long as you choose the right antenna from us, a 2x2, 2.4 gigahertz antenna, it's going to work with that Cisco product. It's going to work with that Ubiquity product. It's going to, it's standard. It's a standard piece. So yes, it will work with any vendor. Long story short.
Thank you. I got another question for you.
Sure.
Do you contact those customers without Microcom salesperson after the fact?
No, unless they're contacting us in regards to technical support, or if it's so if it's a large project, there might be a case where I'll give you an example. Microcom sales comes to us and they have a project. The project is a large-scale hotel. The Microcom sales person needs help with a particular design. So what EnGenius will do is, for us to understand the deployment and the process will want to know what is the application, what is the application exactly? How many levels is the hotel? Where is there RF interference within the hotel? How large is the building itself? What is the construction of the walls? What does the end user want at the end of the day? They want coverage, they want speed, or they want coverage in particular areas. So for us to better understand the application and for that deployment to go smoothly and that customer to come back and buy EnGenius again through Microcom, we will make sure, working through Microcom, that we have the correct deployment for that particular application, for that particular customer. So we will do our best to understand the end user's needs and challenges and the installer's needs and challenges to make that deployment successful. So that would be a time that we would contact them. And if you think about it, there's a lot of back and forth information sharing, right? So there could be a case where our FAE goes, hey, did you ask a question of how many people, what's the density of this lobby? How many users will be in this particular lobby? And they'll call the end user to understand that question, or they'll call the system integrator to understand that answer, I mean.
Thank you, Brian. I have one more question or clarification, just to confirm. You did say that there is 24/7 support at EnGenius. Is that correct?
I did not say there's 24/7. There's not 24/7. Our response times are very fast. It's anywhere from, I think it starts at 7 all the way up till, I think it's 7 to 7, 7 a.m. to 7 p.m. Phone and email support, actually online chat support too, actually. And typically our turnaround time is within the 24-hour period. That's typically, it's a turnaround time of 24, maybe I said that, but it's not 24/7 support.
Okay, thanks. The 7 to 7 support, though, that you did mention, what time zone would that be?
That's Pacific Standard.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
I think that's it for our questions, Brian. I appreciate it so much, and thank you for answering all of them. And I'd like to thank everyone for attending today. And if you have any other questions, feel free to contact your sales rep or email us at sales@microcomtech.com. And if anyone wishes to view more of the products mentioned or shown today, please visit us at our website, microcom.us. or contact the sales rep again. And please remember, this webinar presentation was recorded and will be uploaded to the Microcom YouTube channel, so anyone can reference it again and view it again on YouTube. Thank you again, Brian, and everybody have a great day.